Hello, this is Barkat Libanos and welcome to this video. I'm shooting this video for the computer security class for Metrostate ICS 382, and today I'm going to talk about SQL and SQL injection. This video will be broken into three different parts. The first part will be the introduction part, which I will discuss the definitions of SQL injection, and how SQL injection work. And also I'm gonna show you give you a tour of what applications I'm using, what database I'm using to better understand the content. The second part of it will talk about the different techniques we can use to attack a certain database or application. And the third and final portion of this video will talk about the different techniques we can use in the programming side to prevent these types of attacks from happening. And I hope you will enjoy this video and stay tuned. Thank you. So basically, what is SQL? SQL is an acronym used to refer to a structured query language. It is a computer language aimed to manipulate and retrieve data stored in database or relational database. So basically, there is a basic SQL code here. Uh, uh, this is a basic example, but SQL language or SQL commands or codes can be more complicated than this, but this would give us basic understanding of what SQL code looks like. So if we see here, it says select star from customer where name is equal to Bob. So this shows that means when it's converted to a human understanding language, that means retrieve all fields from the customer table for a customer named Bob. So basically, the star shows that means it's all fields. The from indicates which table to select from, which is customer at this moment, and the where class will put a condition where name is equal to Bob. So the name is a field name here, which is being used to filter the results. Similarly, for the second one, it says select star from customer natural join order where ID is equal to 001. Here, similarly, stars indicates all fields from the table which is generated by the customer in order joined together, and where ID is equal to 001 identifies the filter or the if condition. So if there is an ID, the ID could belong to the order table or the customer table, but if that ID matches 001, only fields that match only records that match that criteria will be returned. So basically, that's basic SQL codes. Well, what's SQL injection? Well, SQL injection is a code. It's a technique used to attack data-driven applications in which malicious SQL statements are inserted into an entry field for execution. So it is basically a method to attack web applications that use a database to retrieve the information they need. So the hacker inserts a SQL statement to the application or to the web application that's designed to cause some malicious action or to get some information about the data inside the database or the schema of the database. So the attacks can vary, but the most common ones are which is extracting data. That means an SQL command will be sent to the application that would cause the application to reveal all the information which is stored on the database. So basically, the hacker will put a well-crafted SQL command there that would satisfy or that would execute, that would give the hacker a chance to get or to extract all data inside the database. The other attack could be to determine the database scheme. This should be used to update, edit, or delete a record inside a database. It also can be used to delete tables, which would be uh, very critical at some moments. So basically, how it works is just by entering SQL commands into a form which is poorly designed. That will be demonstrated on the second part of this video. So here is I try to put it in a just to try to put it on a more understanding way. So basically, the hacker will be logged into a client here to a computer, and then he will go to the website that he needs to go. And here it says example.com. So when he goes there, he will be prompted for the username password. So basically, instead of he entering username password, he will put SQL code inside there. That, for example, any codes that we saw earlier, or anything which is seems like the one which is printed by red. That says anything or x is equal to x. So that will be sent to the web server. The web server sends it to the application, and the application sends it to the database or SQL, and that processes the request and returns back to the user. So this could be information about all about the database itself or the records inside the database. So I'm gonna demonstrate what I have here so that it will be used for the demonstration purposes on the next part of this video. So I have a database here which my application will use, which is right here. This is the source code for my application. Here I have a customer table, line table, orders table, products table, and the line table here. So this would be used by this application to retrieve data out of this. So when I run this application right now, here I use just a push up. It's just a made up store which I just happen to choose randomly. So here it says please enter your email address enclosed in single quotation marks. So basically just put an email address here. I'm going to just put a valid email address here so that you can see what it's doing. So I'm going to just choose this one right here. Hopefully I have a record of search. I think I need to put it in a quotation mark. Alright, here we go. So basically when you put your email address, it will give you the order number attached to that. So in the next part of this video, we are going to use this field to exploit the data which is being used by this application. Now that we have our application up and running, let's see if we can exploit the this application or the database which is being used by this application. So if you notice here, the placeholder for that for the text field says that please enter your email address enclosed in single quotation marks. So in here, basically, this may not tell anything to the normal user, but for the hacker, this gives him a better idea on how the application works, and then how user inputs are being sent to the application or to the database. So in here it says put in single quotation marks. So the hacker now knows that anything after the quotation mark could contain a code or an input. So let's see what we can put in here. So here it will really I can just put X because I am an authorized user and I don't know what the valid email address would be, or instead of X I can just do abc at yahoo.com. This is just to make this clear, but we can also use X here. So he has closed the quotation mark, but after this is where the SQL injection part comes up. So he can say or 1 is equal to 1. So here basically this doesn't matter if this returns true or false, because we have or condition here, and the right hand side operand would be expression would be 1 is equal to 1, which would evaluate true all the time. So basically what it's doing is this whole statement will evaluate true. So I'm gonna hit search and then see what happens. So looks like we have all the orders which are held on the database. So if you ask yourself what happened here, I'm gonna show you what's happening on the back end. So if you can see the source code here, I'm gonna show you what's being happening. All right. So here it says this is the one which is which was prepared before the application even started. This is the user input, what was being sent to the database. So basically this is a valid SQL code. The thing here is that it says abc@yahoo.com or 1 is equal to 1. So basically we can assume that there is no filter or there is no where clause, because this will evaluate true all the time. So there is no need this moment the where class becomes invaluable or unnecessary, because if it's 1 is equal to is what you call it ORed with whatever is on the other hand side, this will evaluate to true, making this statement true will act the same as if the where class was not even there. So this is one way that hackers can get information about certain users or certain data from a database. So here, if you can see, I got a lot of data here. So if I click everything, I can see all the information about every customer, almost every customer on the database. So this is how you extract, how one way to extract data from the database. So I didn't do anything, but I just extract data. But hackers can also insert codes here that would tell them the schema of the database. How it's done will be will show you right now. So basically I'll just do the same thing. I'm gonna do X for now because this doesn't really matter. I'm gonna say or. He knows, the hacker knows that an email address is which is being used to filter or to filter results, or which is being inserted on the where class. So in here he will try to guess what the field name is, because in the previous slides, if you remember, there is commands that says select from tail name where ID is equal to 10001. So the ID is a field name. So now he's since this application is asking for the email, he will guess what the field name would be on the where class. So he can say that email address is equal to null. Null is just a no value. That means just no value. So basically he's putting this one, he's not interested on knowing what's inside the database. He's just trying to see if there is a field name which is called email address. So I'm going to hit search and see what happens. So when I hit search, this shows me there is a server error. So this will tell the hacker that whatever he inserted there is invalid or is not supported, or the syntax, there is a syntax error. So he will try again by putting like X or email is equal to no. See what happens now. When I hit search, it says we don't recognize the email address is specified. So this is not an error message. It is saying that the statement that there is no error on the syntax because we successfully we didn't get the error message as a server error, but other, but here by the message in here that we see, it says that we do not recognize the email address is specified. That means X is not the database doesn't have an email which is says X, which is true, but this tells the hacker that the email is a valid field. So he can go further by guessing the table name which this field is located. So he can say X, well, X or so he knows that the email is one of the fields. He will say maybe members dot email is equal to no. So basically this is still searching for field, but that which makes it different is that you are specifying also the table which the email belongs to, the email field belongs to. So basically this is a fully qualified field name, if you put it that way, because an email could belong to a vendor, a customer, or a manager, but we are saying that by specifying the table name, we are specifically asking for the email which is located on the members table. So he will guess that maybe the customers are called members in that company, and then he will say search. Here he also got server error message. So this tells him that the syntax he used is invalid. Or here, if we can take a look here, it will the hacker will not be able to see this, but if you take a look in here, it says SQL error or missing database, no such column members.email. So this will not be visible for the hacker, but he will have an idea of he can get an idea that whatever he inserted here is invalid or cause a syntax error. So he will correct his mistake, right? He'll just here X again. He'll say, or he'll say customer dot customers dot email is equal to, and let's see what happens. Search. He still gets an error message. We can also confirm here that says that customers dot email is an invalid column name. Also, so he has failed twice, but he can try a million times just to get the name of the table. So I would say X or customer this time dot email is equal to. So let's see what happens. Now it says we don't recognize the email address is specified. So basically there is no syntax error. He knows that because it's talking about the character he inserted, which is X. So basically there is no error message. So now he knows that there is a table which is called customer, and there is that table contains a field which is called email. So basically using this uh, he can cause attacks by changing values or by dropping table. So since this is very SQL injection is a very big topic, might cover the integrity part of it, or the dropping or deleting or editing a record inside a database in other videos. But for now, this is just a brief example or brief explanation why why hackers may try to know the table name or field names. So basically, this is how hackers can try to get information about the database used by an application. So in the next part of this video, we are going to talk about how we can mitigate these vulnerabilities, and then how we can prevent attacks that are thrown from SQL injection. Let's talk about or discuss about how we can mitigate these attacks uh, in the programming side or in the code side. So basically, if you uh, guessed by now, the issue arises because we have a a poorly coded form. All right, so let's see how we can mitigate these attacks using code. So here it's saying that use prepared statements instead of statements. We will see what prepared statements are and then statements would be. But basically, prepared statements are like classes that would skip the keywords. For example, the or and the end or the like keywords that are being used by the database will be skipped, so they are not going to be considered as user input. So this is one way. I'm not going through the slides so that I can do them all at once. So the second recommendation is to sanitize user input. So basically, our applications, the receipt finder application, is just sending what is being input on the field and directly sending it to the database without looking into it, without filtering it, without assessing what is inside that uh, input. So in a few minutes we'll be able to see how we can sanitize the user input to better protect our server or our database. The third and final way to mitigate these types of actions or types of attacks is to limit the number of error message that the application can handle. What I mean by this is, if you take a, if we uh, uh, noticed earlier, we can make a lot of errors, but the application will stay up and it will still accept inputs. But if error messages are happening that says server error, server error, server error, we can limit the number of errors that the application can handle, so that we can discourage the hacker from continuously trying to exploit the SQL or the database. Um, so basically, we can limit the number of attempts that the hacker can get as an error message. Uh, so what I have in mind is just disabling the text field, disabling the error message, and just popping up a message saying that please call the service desk or customer service. All right. So without further ado, let's get to action. All right. So first thing first, we are going to activate prepared statement. So if you in the slide, we recommended to use prepared statement instead of statements. So in Java, there are two classes that allow us to execute SQL statements to a database. So basically, prepared statement is one class, a special class, which is believed to guard against SQL injections. So in here, if you can take a look, a statement is being used here. SQL statement is just the what we have, but here is being used statement. So statement, this is a variable, but if you see here, that's a statement class. So basically, if we uncomment this, comment this out, and then uncomment the prepared statement, I just am here to save time, but you could just type them in. I just put them for simplicity reasons or for speed. So I'm gonna uncomment anything that's had the prepared statements in it. Alright, I'm gonna run this right now. All the changes are done. I'm gonna run it and see what will happen after these changes have been done. So I'm gonna do the same thing to extract the data here. X or 1 is equal to 1. See what happens. I'm gonna search. So it says we don't recognize email address here, but it didn't give us. I'm gonna try again. X or 1 is equal to 1. Let me search. It says here we don't recognize the email address, but we don't see results here. All the application, or sorry, all the orders that are part of that database. So basically, what it will do is it will truncate all or end or something, the special characters, and then just put that in there to execute the query. So basically, this is one way to prevent these types of attacks. So I can do the other ones like this: X or email is equal to null. See what we'll get. It still says we don't recognize the email address. Before let's do the one that showed an error message. Equal to null. Oh, now here if I search, I still don't get the error message because prepared statement is basically guarding us guarding us through from SQL injection. So the way it does it is just it truncates anything special characters or words like or and end, and then it will pass that. Once it's done, it will pass it to the database. The other advantage of the prepared statement is if you take a look here, the input is set. The input is set after. So the input is first set, and then it is sent to the to the database here. So basically, whatever is in the email address will be inside a quotation mark. So it will say it will be a weird email address. So it will be just like previously, if we do here, or 1 is equal to 1, this would be pasted, but right now it will be as if you are writing like this. So everything will be inside a quotation. So our email, our SQL statement would say something like email is equal to x, or x1 is equal to 1, which is in fact an invalid email address. So basically that's the other way we can prevent this. So this is one way, but the other way is to sanitize user input, right? So here, if you can take a look here, while the prepared statement can do that for us, but we can do it manually. Let's say we like statement for some reason, right? The class statement, it would already use prepared statement, but we can achieve the same thing if we sanitize the input. So basically, I'm gonna comment and uncomment this one, comment and uncomment the statement, and then we'll try it again. So basically, I want to put this on fast forward, and I'm gonna fast forward this so that I can finish this, so that you don't have to see me editing this. The email address is sent. When the email address is sent, I am replacing here. If you take a look here, I'm gonna just uncomment this one. I just forgot to do that. So in here, I am replacing the occurrences of or, and, like, union. I can add some other keywords, but keep in mind what I'm doing is just I'm replacing them with a empty string. So basically this will cause an error, a server error, but this would give you an idea of what sanitizing a user input means. So basically it's truncating those words out to prevent SQL injection. So basically, since I have changed it, I'm going to run it again. So we'll see what will happen when we do x is equal to x, or 1 is equal to 1 here. So I'm going to do x or 1 is equal to 1. So basically we don't get any we don't get any input. All we got is we got a server error. So basically we can also do the field name scanning here, but it will still give us an error message. So basically this will prevent the hacker from getting or revealing information inside the database. One final way is to limit the number of error messages that the user can get can can have. So basically I'm gonna leave this, I'm gonna uncomment few other things here. So I'm gonna put you I'm gonna fast forward this so that you can I can uncomment these sections as fast as possible. Alright, so I have made the necessary changes that is needed to limit the numbers of errors that the application can handle. So if you can take a look here, uh, I have set this software to allow the user to make about 3 error messages, but after that it will uh, display an error message saying please contact the service desk. Here I'm gonna disable the order search, the search button, also the error message. It will be visible showing this error message right here, or informative error message if you call it that way. So I'm gonna test it, see if that will work right now. So I'm gonna do x or 1 is equal to 1. So there is a syntax error here. So there is one. Let's see, I'm gonna try again. X or 1 is equal to 1 here. So still an error message, 1 or 1, x or 1 is equal to 1. Search. Alright, hopefully by this time it will lock out on me. So I'm gonna do x or 1 is equal to 1. So at this moment it's locked out, so I cannot do anything at this moment, and it shows that I have to call the service desk. So this would discourage the hacker from opening and close the application. It will also take him a long time to to pass this through to understand how the database works, or how the database behind this application is designed, or how the application is designed. So basically that's how we can prevent such attacks here. Right. Open up. All right, so let's see what we have next here. All right, so basically to conclude this demonstration, we talk about how what SQL injection is, how it can be exploited, and how it can be mitigated. So basically mitigation could be done by using prepared assessment, and by sanitizing the user's input, and by limiting the number of errors the application can handle. And if you need more information, there are sources here that you can maybe copy it and then maybe type it in your in your favorite browser to get more information, or to get the information that I used for this presentation. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So basically if you have questions or if you have suggestions, please feel free to let me know, and then I'll be happy to answer those for you or take them as a suggestion.